I always think that there is a particular point, and this might be the same for many of you or different for each of you, sort of a point of demarcation where you're like, you know what, this is the right thing. And that might be the first table read, that might be the first audition, that might be 20 episodes in. When did you think, Randall, I'm onto something, this is gonna...
Just this episode that you watched?
Yeah, the Christmas episode, no. Gosh, I don't know. I was always probably not, I mean, I always felt so good about the show from the onset, you know, from the pilot. I felt like we were doing something very special, but I never expected it to keep going, you know. I just didn't. I mean, I was trained to think that something like this could not succeed in this industry, you know. And so I mean, after the pilot, we got picked up to series, and I was like, this is great. This is amazing. We'll do one great season, and then we'll get canceled. But it's going to be so great, you know. And then we got another season, and you know, I'd say like maybe like middle of fourth season, I was like, I think we're okay. We're okay. Yeah, but I especially, I mean, early on, I definitely, you know, I just thought we were kind of doing something like really against the odds, you know. It's
weird to me to imagine that we've been on the air for 5 years and to think of the changes that have happened in society in 5 years. Like, weirdly, I think our show is even more relevant today and more important today than when we started in a lot of ways. And I think that continuing to tell these stories and continuing to encourage other people to tell their stories, to me, is, you can't underestimate that, or you can't undersell how important that is, you know, to have this platform. And yeah, I mean, so much that happened in 5 years, right?
No question about that. And for the boys, one thing I think that's interesting to be a young actor, perhaps even more so than the grown-ups, when were you aware, you know, did your friends come up to you and say, hey, I saw that show, or that kind of thing? Did get some degree of peer recognition?
I think it was kind of tough. I didn't know anything about TV. The only thing I watched were cartoons when I was a kid. So I didn't know the importance of an all-Asian American show when I first started. I kind of like, oh, I want to try acting. Let's see what this is. And I kind of, when the pilot first came out, I was kind of like bragging to my friends, like, oh, I did something. I'm happy now. And and they kind of were like, oh, good job, Hudson, because I really got my inspiration to act from some of my friends. And then when the pilot got picked up and just things started happening, I started getting interviewed, I started like realizing how much this actually meant, and my dad especially was kind of really surprised, because one story I like to tell about him is that he kind of helped get All-AmericanGirl kind of like taken off because he was a critic back then. And he feels like, and this is kind of like karma, and at the same time, me being on the show is kind of like a way of him being able to make up for the loss. But I don't know.
What about you guys? Either about Hudson's dad or when your friends started.
I like Hudson's dad a lot. He's been very kind to me the last 5 years. Yeah, and we have some pretty interesting stories. Yeah. But about the show, I was pretty young when I started, so most of my friends didn't watch ABC, just Disney Channel. Yeah, so only when I turned probably like 12, when I went to a new school, did people start recognizing me and saying, oh, hey, you're from that show, I really like that. Yeah, so it's changed as I've gotten older. And as I've gotten older, I've also understood the importance of Asian representation on a network show.
Great. And what about you?
A lot of my friends today, they watch Fresh Off the Boat, and we talk about it. It's pretty fun. And also, oh, what was I gonna say? I was thinking about this for like 5 minutes.
Something good.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like some of my teachers also watch the show, and they like promote to the other students, like to watch my show. Not my show, but to watch Fresh Off the Boat. Yeah, so it's cool. Yeah.
One other element I suspect of representation is exposure. So to Golden Globe nominee Constance Wu. You're this big shot movie star, and how much does your participation in Fresh Off the Boat do you think contributes to that fact?
I think Fresh Off the Boat was a big contributing factor to not necessarily my career, but just the movie Crazy Rich Asians. I mean, JonM.Chu, our director, even said that he realized that he needed to do something when he saw a bunch of tweets about Asian representation. And I think our show kind of kicked off a discussion on that. I mean, there was a 20-year drought of content, and nobody talked about it during those 20 years. And I think it really took like, what's the word I'm looking for? A really evocative, different voice to sort of demand attention, and I think that was Eddie Huang's voice. So it was his book, and then people loved his book, and then we made it into a show. And I think that sort of really got the ball rolling. It's people having their own voice, and not necessarily like following rules.
And you were working actress, obviously, prior to Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah, I've been an actress for like 25 years.
Okay. And did you have a sense, and Randall, I'll address the same thing to you, that this was a breakthrough in terms of not just the specific opportunity of the show, but creating additional opportunities?
For me?
For Asia.
Well, I mean, it has, so that's good. I don't know, I try not to think about it in terms of like goalposts and breakthrough, because I think just being an actor was always my goal, and I think that there are plenty of people who don't have incomes that come from jobs where they pursue their passion, but they still pursue it. So I was going to be an actor no matter what, even if I had to like be a waitress for the rest of my life, which I did for a really big part of my life. So I'm excited for the opportunities that this has afforded me. I'm also very aware that, Hollywood has a very short attention span. So just try to enjoy what happens when it's happening, and keep professional, keep doing good work. And that's what I'm trying to do.